Hey folks, it's Leah soaping today. I'm so glad you joined me. Welcome to the channel if it's your first time, and if you're back again to join us, thank you so much for coming back to see us again. I'm actually doing a completely different setup today. I don't know if you've noticed, but you can actually kind of see our Christmas tree in the background because we haven't taken that down yet. And it's still December, so we're creating our soaps for the February release because that's what it's like to make soap. Basically, what we're doing is lemon lavender soap, and I've decided for this one I want to only use botanical color, and I'm going to do like an in the pot swirl. So I have two different sort of halves of the soap that I have to make, and I'm making them completely differently from each other, and you'll see why in a second. So over here I have my bucket, which you're probably wondering why I have a big old bucket here, but this is our trusty recycled bucket. We got it forever ago and sanitized it, and now it's our oil bucket. Basically what we do is when you look down so every time we have a video with us making the soap, we always have the recipe in the description box below, and that's basically all in percentages. So when I say this is 10 kilos of oil, and we put 40% olive oil, for example, that means that's 4 kilos of olive oil and so on. So this is our blended up oils, 10 kilos of it, so we can just sort of dump it into a bowl and be like, okay, I've got enough. The thing is, when I use botanical colorants, I actually have to use them infused in oil typically. And I typically use olive oil. So I have over here, I'm not sure how well you can see my little shelf, but I have my little jars with infused olive oil. This is ALKANET root infused in olive oil, and I'm going to be able to use this olive oil in one half of my soap to color it purple for sort of a soft purple for lavender color. The other half of the soap I'm going to leave uncolored so I can just use the blend from here. But because this is actually olive oil, I'm going to have to measure out my oils separately, if that makes sense, because the olive oil is in here, not in here. So you can see that this is what our olive oil normally looks like. It's this sort of like golden color. So that's, and it's very like translucent, or like you can see through. It's transparent, I guess, or like clear. And this little jar is actually black, so you can't see very well, but I'm going to pour it into this bowl, and on the white bowl, I'm pretty sure you're going to be able to see it's quite a different color. I've got my bowl here. It has, yeah, so it's at 100 grams, and I'm just going to put it back at 0 and add 180, because in total I want 280 grams. You see how beautiful that sort of like mixture of colors is? I don't know how well the camera's picking it up, but it's just lovely. It's got like a mottled look. It's super satisfying. And actually, now that I've mixed that in, you can see it's like a slightly less bright red because it's getting a little bit watered down by the other olive oil. So this is going to be quite a pale color in the final soap, which I am 100% okay with. This is castor oil. So I'm doing 70 grams of sweet almond oil. I actually went a little bit over, that's okay. Okay, and then we're gonna have some solid oils. So on account of the oils being solid, we're gonna have to melt them. So I prefer to do them in something like this. And this is a really good opportunity to talk about our sourcing, because we do source as ethically as we can. You might have seen we don't actually have any kind of special olive oil because that's harder to get. But we do have this lovely community fair trade coconut oil, and You're not here, so you can't smell it, but oh my gosh, it smells just like coconut. It's virgin coconut oil. It's from, where's the sticker? I'll turn the sticker so you can see it. It's from Baraka, and they're a company that, they specialize in shea, but they also do fair trade, coconut oil, of course the shea butter, and sustainable palm oil. Particularly red palm they're known for. So red palm is really special because it gives a beautiful orange color to the final soap. Really, really cool product. We want 280 grams today. So I'm just gonna scoop out into here. I also am going to have cocoa butter, which is solid. You can always do them separately, but I actually find that the warmth of the coconut oil, because it heats up a little quicker, helps to melt the cocoa butter. So this little, we reuse everything in this house. So you'll see in the background here, I have these yogurt containers. That's for the next soap that I'm doing. But these little bins and everything that we get from, this could have been coconut oil, could have been anything, but it's so handy because you can just reuse them for other things. We got this beautiful cocoa butter from the same place. It's from the Baraka folks. And it came in a huge block. So Eli had lots of fun sort of like hacking little bits off. And so that was how we got them into these little pieces. And so he just stores them in a bucket that previously had whatever kind of oil or what have you. But this cocoa butter is also fair trade, just like their shea butter, their coconut oil, and so on. So we love sourcing from them. Okay, great. So I've got my solid oils. Now I'm just going to take these over to the microwave, stick them in the microwave for 30-second bursts, and melt it until it's liquid, sort of like what you see in the other bowl. And we'll be back then. And guys, I gotta tell you, this cocoa butter smells so stinking good because it smells like chocolate because it's not refined. This is the same stuff that we use in our solid lotion bars, and the lotion bars smell like chocolate. It's incredible. They're so awesome. And I'll stir this into here. And you'll see it's a very, very nice, really beautiful sort of like pink now. It's going to be a beautiful color in the final soap. Very like flowery and pretty. So check out that lovely color. We've got all of our oils mixed now. I've got my regular plain oils here that I just sort of ladled out from the big bucket. And these ones will be the white soap, or it'll be kind of an off-white soap. I'm not going to add any titanium dioxide today because I just want it to be a pure natural soap. You can see we've already abused this poor freezer top so much. It's already got all these bits where the paint has come off. There's all the scratch. It's kind of been through a lot. So nobody's actually commented on this per se. Directly to us, but we have actually been kind of bad in the past when it comes to wearing long sleeves during soaping. So I'm trying, it's a new year. I'm trying to behave myself a bit better in that sense because, we might have people who are learning from us like how to make soap and everything, and should be a good example, Start out by measuring our distilled water, which I'm going to do in here. This is what I'm going to mix my lye solution in the end. You always, always, always want to go from having the water in the pitcher and adding the lye to it, not having the lye in the pitcher and adding the water to it. That's really dangerous. It can actually volcano over and you could end up with really caustic liquid all over the place. So you always want to start with the water in the pitcher and add the lye to it in that direction. Now I actually have to do 2 lye solutions because I've done 2 different batches of oil. Okay, so I've got my water, and now I'm just going to take a clean, dry container, and I'm going to put my lye in here. And so now I'm just going to repeat the whole thing over again for the other color.
So at this point there was lots of background noise and it was really hard to finish the soap and also do the talking at the same time. So we have to switch to a voiceover. At this point I started measuring out my essential oils. You'll see I have this little trick that I learned from Terry at Treamery Soapworks, where I pour down a spoon handle, or sometimes I'll use like a wooden stick, and it keeps the oil from running down the side of the bottle. I'm doing 2 different pots of essential oils, just as I'm doing 2 different pots of lye, 2 different pots of oils. I'm adding some kaolin clay to each of the different essential oil bins because the kaolin clay is going to help to anchor the scent in the soap so it doesn't fade as quickly. Now it's time to start making the soap. You're going to see a wonderful, awesome transition from the soap being this kind of reddish color to being quite blue, almost like an indigo color. This is because some colors are dependent on the pH. So if you have something that is really alkaline, which soap is at first because you've just added the lye, then it's going to turn a different color, in this case kind of blue. It goes back to kind of a purple by the end. So I add my essential oils with clay, and then I stick blend it to a nice trace. Now it's time to do the uncolored soap. I'll just add my lye water solution again and stick blend what is maybe the most satisfying soap blend I've ever recorded. And once that's at trace, I'm going to stir in my essential oils with clay. I give these a pretty thorough stick blend because I don't want them to be so runny that the colors are mixing together a lot. I want them to be fairly distinct so you can really see some swirling happening in the final soap. You can really see how blue the ALKANET root is right now in the soap. As the soap saponifies or goes through the chemical reaction to go from oil and lye to actual soap, you'll see that the soap does become less blue. It settles sort of in the middle of the 2 colors. So it goes from the really red to really blue to a nice medium purple. Now that I'm happy with the consistency of my soap, I'm going to pour the bluish ALKANET soap into the uncolored soap, sort of in a circle, and let it blend a little bit as I drop it. I'm going to sprinkle some lavender buds on top. Then I place the whole loaf into my oven that is completely turned off, but with the oven light on so that it has a little extra warmth because I want to force it to go through gel. Because I did this, you can see the next morning, which is only about 12 hours later, I was able to completely unmold and unwrap it without it being at all sticky. It's really gone from liquid soap to really, really solid hard soap in only about 12 hours. You'll be able to see it much better once I cut into the soap, but the coloring of the ALKANET has really changed to a light purple. It's not at all blue anymore, and it's certainly not red. It's a pretty clear purple. It is a little bit muted, and that's why you put it through gel phase, because you want it to get as bright as possible. And I did put just 100 grams of infused oil, so it is a light purple, but if I had put a little bit more, I would have probably gotten a richer purple. That's okay. I'm still really happy with how floral and pastel this soap is. I think it turned out really, really pretty. I turned the soap on its side to cut it because that keeps me from dragging too many of the lavender buds through the soap and making sort of scratches or lines in the process. I am absolutely tickled pink by how the soap turns out. It matches so well with the actual lavender buds, and I just think it's really pretty and really simple, and I'm just really happy with it. This is one of our most popular soaps. We're always selling out of the Lemon Lavender, and for good reason, because it just smells absolutely amazing. This is probably my absolute favorite scent of anything that we make. It's just really like slightly floral, herbal, and then really fresh from the lemon. It's just a really nice fragrance. And of course, it's all essential oils, so if you're sensitive to synthetics, that's not really an issue. This is what they look like now that they've all been cut, and now they will go on our curing rack for 4 to 6 weeks before we package them and release them on February 3rd as part of our February release. Stay tuned for videos on other products that'll also be available on February 3rd at tubbytabby.com. Thank you for joining us today. Be sure to like this video if you enjoyed it, and please do subscribe because it really helps us out, and we'll see you in the next one.